to the candidates forum for New Providence this evening. It's a warm evening, so we'll try to stay cool in here. My name is Susan Ferris-Wrights. I'm the co-president of the League of Women Voters, and this is the candidates forum in New Providence. The League of Women Voters was started almost 100 years ago. It was started as a result of the fact that women got the right to vote, and they really had no opportunity to get information about political issues other than the information that their husbands gave to them. So they decided to band together to educate themselves to be more informed voters, which is exactly why we have forums like this for you guys to meet your candidates and hear their opinions on various matters. We collect questions that are vetted over there. We need to remember to stick to politics and not personalities, okay? We only have a limited amount of time, and Diane is going to go over the rules for answering the questions. And that's it. So I'm going to hand this over to Diane Gallo, who's your moderator for this evening, and she'll be great.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see a big crowd, which means you all have good, important questions tucked away. Again, if you have questions and you can't get over to that table, raise your hand. We'll get a runner to pick them up and bring them over there. Some housekeeping. We have some rules that the League always asks. There is no taping, no recording. There's nothing that you can use, that the candidates can use later. That's just not allowed in League debates. We are being recorded and taped two times. TV 35, your local access, and Brianna Venosi is here from NJTV. So consider yourselves moving up in the world, because you're now on NJTV. The four candidates who are sitting in front of you chose numbers by picking out of a hat. And so that will be their order of speaking for the opening statements, which are 3 minutes each. Then they will rotate through the questions so that everybody has a chance to answer the question first. And in the closing statements, they just go the reverse order of the opening statements. So opening statements, 3 minutes each. Answer to questions, 1 minute each. If we need rebuttals, 30 seconds. And the closing statements are 2 minutes each. Now we have a slight technical problem. All you people in New Providence, put some money together and get microphones for this place. Because as you can see, there are no microphones in front of the candidate, and they need microphones for the taping. So what I'm going to do is literally pass this thing back and forth as each candidate answers. So you'll excuse the kind of craziness of moving around, but that's what we have to do. I think that's it. And we can get started. So, the order of speaking, in terms of the opening statements. Dr. Robinson chose number 1, so he goes first for a 3-minute opening statement.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for the League for hosting this. People have asked, hey Doc, how's the campaign going? Well, it started 4 months ago, and when we started this, I had a full head of hair, if that answers that question. I grew up in New Providence. For the last 25 years, I've lived in New Providence, and I've worked in New Providence. I've had the pleasure of being on the Borough Council for 10 years. Nadine and I went door to door for 4 months, and we said to people, what is your priority? Number 1, property taxes. So we said, so Mr. Smith, do you know that your property taxes, your municipal taxes, at the municipal level per capita is number 2 compared to towns in our area? Oh, I didn't know that, Dr. Robinson. That's Mr. Smith replying to me. I said, Mr. Smith, do you know that New Providence has received a AAA bond rating from all 3 bond rating agencies? I didn't know that, Dr. Robinson. Mr. Smith, did you know New Providence was rated number 8 as the most favorable place to live, the best place to live in New Jersey? And Mr. Smith, I'm shocked that it wasn't number 1. Mrs. Smith, you mentioned public safety. Did you know that, I'm going to trip up here. Did you know that New Providence was rated the 67th safest place to live in the United States? Oh no, Dr. Robinson, she's from England, Mrs. Smith, lovely girl. Did you know New Providence has a fully accredited police department? Did you know it has an award-winning shared dispatch center? I didn't know that. What about quality of life issues? You have two lovely children. Did you know the Community Activities Department offers programs in sports and in education, about 50-50 each? Did you know that New Providence has a wonderful summer program that's been going on for years? Other towns try to copy it. Mrs. Smith, did you know that recently 3 athletic fields were completely renovated, one winning an award? I didn't know that. Did you know that downtown New Providence is ready for business? We have buildings going up, we have businesses coming in. We have 3 liquor licenses that are out and being used. And we have parking downtown that's available, being increased, and it is free. I didn't know that. Mrs. Smith, your parents live with you. Do you know that we have a senior center in New Providence with a new kitchen going in, with a new roof overhead, and new programs going in? That's for you, your children, and your family. New Providence is a very special place to live. I am proud to be on council here. It is great because of you, the people. It can be made even better if we work together in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to remind the candidates also to pay attention to the timekeeper. When 30 seconds is left, she will hold up the yellow sign, and when the red sign goes up, please finish the sentence that you're speaking.
Where's the timekeeper?
Yeah, exactly.
The second person to speak is Mr. Dahl.
Good evening. I want to extend my appreciation to the League of Women Voters for sponsoring the forum this evening, and thank you to all who are here in attendance tonight. My name is Keith Dahl, and I am running alongside Jamie Bear Peterson as a Democratic candidate for New Providence Borough Council. Much like many of you here tonight, my wife Lauren and I were attracted to the small town feel of New Providence, the safety and security of our community, and how the highly rated school system prepares our children for a future of endless possibilities. We love the home we have built here for ourselves and our new son, Jake. As an oncology nurse at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, I have dedicated my career in service to others. Each day, I put my patients' needs above all. I am at their bedside during what is often the most challenging time in their lives, treating them with compassion while supporting their loved ones. I demonstrate a commitment to my profession through continuing education and research, which allows me to alter the care I provide to reflect the newest evidence-based practices. I am dedicated to clear and concise communication, having to routinely assess critical situations, and in those moments, maintain open lines of dialogue between medical staff to ensure positive patient outcomes. I am also proud to be recognized as a leader in a team environment, serving as a mentor and supervisor for developing new nurses. As a grassroots organizer, I found my political voice. Collaborating with people across different communities, we built consensus on plans of action, shining a light on the decisions being made by our representatives, with the goal of holding them accountable for reflecting the values of the communities they represent. As a new father, I share a vested interest in the future of New Providence. If I am so fortunate to be elected to the council, I understand the weight my decisions will carry not just for the future of my family, but for all families here in New Providence. Throughout this campaign, Jamie Bear Peterson and I, along with a full complement of volunteers, have worked really hard and take enormous pride in our efforts to listen to you, our neighbors. We heard what you love most about New Providence and what you think we can and must improve upon. Now is the time to put those words into action. Together, I believe that we can maintain the character of New Providence while also ensuring that the representation on Borough Council reflects the growing diversity of our community among ages, backgrounds, and beliefs. I look forward to our discussion tonight. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Jamie Bear Peterson, and I am running for Borough Council. First of all, I'd like to say Happy Diwali to all my Indian friends and hope that it's a happy evening for you. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for the opportunity to discuss the issues here tonight. And I want to share the vision of New Providence that Keith and I have for you. First of all, I love New Providence. My husband and I moved here from Manhattan 20 years ago with our then 3-year-old daughter because New Providence fit our criteria of a family-friendly town with great schools and a direct train line into Manhattan. I still remember the strong impression that I got when we found our first house on Hawthorne Drive. I knew we had come home. We grew to love our neighbors, teachers, schools, the rec center, all the rec center had to offer, and of course, the delicious pizza in this town. My husband Mark and I are Midwesterners. We met at our church in New York City, and we've been married for 25 years. And we are the proud parents of 3 children, Paige, Emily, and Joseph. I was a professional opera singer with a career that led me to sing numerous times at Carnegie Hall, Lincoln Center, and in theaters throughout the United States and France. I'm currently a stage director and music teacher at the Wharton Institute and a self-employed small business owner with my own home voice studio. Most importantly, I am a community volunteer. I have jumped at every opportunity to serve the PTA as a volunteer or community chair, a committee chair for the preschools and public schools that my children have attended. I served on the executive board of the New Providence Music Boosters for 10 years. I have chaired many committees for the New Jersey Youth Symphony, Scouting, the musicals, and more. Currently, I'm on the Sustainability Committee and the boards of the Friends of the New Providence Library and Light Opera of New Jersey. In each endeavor that I pursue, be it professional or volunteer, I apply the same level of dedication, commitment, and compassion in order to achieve the highest level of success. Service is in my DNA. It was instilled in me by my hard-working parents who both grew up on farms in Minnesota. Politics is not something that I previously pursued in my life, but I felt the need to stand up and serve my community. I will bring my perspective as a mother, as an educator, as a small business owner, and an energetic, concerned citizen to the council. I will work to make New Providence even safer and more inclusive place to live. Thank you for your time tonight.
Our last person for the opening statement is Nadine Jeffroy.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. I want to thank you all for coming. I want to give a special thanks to the League of Women Voters for this amazing event, and I want to thank my fellow candidates. I want to tell you tonight about why I want to be on Borough Council. My husband and I purchased our home in 1997, and we are raising our 3 children here. We have been blessed with amazing schools, scouts, sports, recreation department, and we are making the most this town has to offer, and that's a lot. I graduated the University of Scranton in 1991 with a degree in accounting. I have an MBA in finance from Pace University, and I worked in investment banking for 15 years, both in financial analysis and control and in project management. That experience will help me be on the finance committee, and it will allow me to work on problems or issues that arise in town. It also taught me to have good communication skills and work with people at all different levels. When my 3rd child was born, I was able to stay home, and I immersed myself into their lives. I was on the executive board of PTAs at all 3 schools as a treasurer and as a vice president, and I worked on numerous committees. When my children got involved in sports, I became the team manager. When they went to CCD, I became their teacher. And for scouts, all 3 of my children were scouts, and I was their leader. Community service was a prime focus to my troops and also to my family. We always look to give back. Certain areas that we worked with town, we were fortunate enough to work with the Community Service Association, with the New Providence Education Foundation and the Lions Club, just to mention a few. I've gained great experience there as I've made great contacts in town, as well as working with people. In 2010, I was appointed to the Planning Board, where I learned about zoning and what it takes to build and renovate. I was also fortunate to work on the borough master plan and also on the drafts of the liquor licenses, which were later sold. That part will be invaluable because our downtown is expanding and I would be able to work on that. But now it's time for me to give back to the town that it's given me and my family so much. I want to combine all of my experiences together so I can hit the ground running as a valuable team member. I thrive on project management. I love working with people, and I want to reach out to all people. New residents, existing residents, and senior residents all deserve the opportunity to thrive in this town, and I want to be the catalyst to make that happen. Our elected officials have provided an environment so this borough can thrive, and it is thriving, as Bob told us. I want to be, as council member, somebody that can continue that success here in town. I bring the fresh perspective of a woman, of a mom, of a hardworking team leader. I can and will get the job done. I want to learn, I want to help, and most importantly, I want to serve the residents of this borough. And for me, that's what this election is all about. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Do we have some questions? I noticed a lot of people were writing on those cards, which is good. So I have a feeling the committee is screening out questions probably for duplicates, because there are always those issues that everybody has.
Okay, and let's remember that we're doing politics, not personalities. What does that mean?
What it means is if I get a card that has a personal attack, I don't read it. That's what it means.
It's very straightforward.
Okay, first question, and this is for everyone. So the first person, because we just do a rotation, first person to answer will be Ms. Jeffroy. And the question is on the environment. What will you do to make New Providence a greener community? You don't have to get up.
New Providence has a great history of already being a green community, and we are working continuously harder to make our carbon footprint smaller. We have energy efficient lights in our EMS center. We have motion detector lights, and we have a community garden that people can go to. We have a lot of different programs that people can participate in. Right now we have a bronze rating by the state of New Jersey in our sustainability. We also have methods where people can walk to school safe routes to school. And we are looking to expand that up to the silver program by adding a tree program. And we are continuously committed to making New Providence a greener town. Thank you.
Dr. Robinson? Dr. Robinson, you go back.
I've been the chair, the council liaison on sustainability for 2 years. And again, as Nadine mentioned, community garden was a very active part of the growth of the green New Providence. We had someone come to a sustainability committee recently to look at New Providence from the 2010 perspective. At the end of that evaluation, he literally said, I have very few recommendations for New Providence. Providence has done a great job. You have generators, LED lighting, you have put lights in the rescue squad building, the municipal center, and most importantly, you have the green footprint of New Providence. Move forward.
The next person to speak is Mr. Dahl.
So I think that this is a really important question because the environment is really so important to the future of this community. Number one, and this I think is really the key to the future of New Providence, is really energizing the young people in New Providence to be a part of a greener future. When you look to the next generation of New Providence, And across the country, the young people are the ones who are so energized about this issue. And I really think that in making this policy, we need to reach out to them and find out what kind of ideas, what kind of, what things that they want to be a part of. I think that moving towards walkability, bringing cars off the roads, and encouraging bike traffic instead, walking from place.
Hi, I'm Jamie Peterson again. I'm going to stand because those people over there can't see me, and I'm a performer, so there you have it. Okay. I've lived in New Providence 20 years, and we've never had an Earth Day celebration. I think that's something that we should have. When my son was in Cub Scouts, I organized with his troop, and then when he was in his scouting troop too, we cleaned up the green space between Crestview and the other pool. I can't think of the name of it at the point. Clearwater. Thank you, Clearwater. And this is something. It was something we just organized for the scout troop. We did this every year. This is something we could easily do as a community. Have an Earth Day celebration, clean up the green spaces, clean up the waterways. This costs zero money. Another thing that we could do is we need more garbage recycling. I've noticed near the train stations there are not recycling and garbage containers. There are lots of garbage containers, but not recycling. We need to be better about recycling in our community. That's so easy to do. That doesn't cost a lot of money. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone feel the need to answer any of what was said? Okay. Second question. New Jersey property taxes are among the highest in the nation. What steps can you take at the local level to slow the pace of inevitable increase? And the first person to speak is Dr. Robinson.
The best way to control property taxes is, number one, to increase the income coming into the town. So my first thought would be, when you look at the shared dispatch center, the shared dispatch center is set for 3 towns, the Providence, Milburn, and Summit. There's space available for 2 more towns to come into that. So one of the first things I would do, if re-elected, would be to get a 4th and a 5th town to come in, and in that sense, lower the property taxes by bringing income into town. Sharing services is another way to keep property taxes down. At this time, we are actively looking to share services with adjoining town for the court system. We're also looking to share services with another adjoining town related to a particular employee to keep our engineering costs down. So the 2 ways to keep property taxes down is, number one, increase your income. Bring another town in. Bring money to New Providence. And number 2, to share expenses with bordering towns. New Providence has been very active in sharing over the course of time. The third way to do it is grants. You look for grants from Union County, you look for grants from the state of New Jersey. Thank you.
The next person will be Mr. Dahl.
Yeah, I guess I feel more comfortable standing. I actually agree with much of the sentiment of Councilman Robinson. To the extent that I really do feel like we need to reach out to the county to see what type of services we are currently paying for and we are not receiving. I think that's definitely a relationship that I think we can expand upon. And then I think in terms of helping property taxes with seniors. I know in the time that we've spent going door to door, there were so many seniors that we came across who are currently feeling the crunch and feel like they're getting priced out of town. Working towards the Senior Freeze program that the state provides, really trying to get that information to the seniors in the community and make sure that they understand whether or not they qualify for that program. I think that will help bring relief to a very important population of our town.
Well, I don't know about you, but in the 20 years that I've lived here, my property taxes have gone up about 40%. And I'm sure you are all feeling the crunch too, and wonder how you could possibly stay in this town longer. So property taxes are a big issue. My main thing would be, let's cut some wasteful spending. I'm going to give you an exhibit. The tennis courts. 5 years ago, they were, courts 1 through 4 were repaved. Now, they were not done, the price tag was $150,000. They changed the plans after accepting the bid. So instead of milling 9 to 12 inches and removing the old asphalt, they milled only about 4 inches and put a thinner layer of asphalt upon the top stone dust. Last year, 1-inch crack appeared. We are now spending $40,000 to fix those cracks. Now, I'm aware of this because my son plays tennis, and I was just appalled at that we're paying world-class taxes for crappy tennis courts. So we can do a lot better. We can consult real people who know what the heck they're doing. Thank you.
I agree. We've been hearing a lot about property taxes as well when we're talking to people. And I think most residents understand the breakdown of taxes, but I'm just going to review it very quickly. Of every dollar that you pay for property taxes, about 57 cents of that goes to our schools. There's really not much we can do about that because that is state mandated and it's not a partisan issue. About 21 cents comes to the borough of New Providence, which actually leaves then 22 cents to Union County. So we are now actually paying more to Union County than we pay here to New Providence. Basically, our taxes can only go up 2%, so that's pretty managed on that level. About 80 to 90% of that 21 cents that we pay to New Providence is fixed costs. So there we're only at 10 or 20 cents. So we make the most of that and everything that we have to do. What can we do to save that money? Going back to what Bob said, we can get grants, we can get different funding. Last year, $4.4 million in revenue came in, not related to anything other than grants and funding. Thank you.
Do we want to rebut that? Okay. Well, 30 seconds, quick.
Tennis courts. So New Providence has a history of fiscal responsibility. We do not throw money at something until we have that money to throw at it. So repairing a tennis court was a way to extend the life of that tennis court. We are fully aware that it would take about $2 million to completely redo those tennis courts. When the budget allows that, when our debt retirement is sufficient, we are considering doing a complete renovation at $2 million of those tennis courts. We are patching it up, much like milling and paving is versus micro sealing. Those courts are being micro sealed, not repaved. We're going to redo them.
Can we move on to the next question? All right. This is on roads, so we're still dealing with paving. Big issue. Is New Providence doing enough to maintain the local roads at a decent level of repair? Should the town provide more information on how repaving decisions are made and when a street might be getting an upgrade? And the first person to answer will be Mr. Dahl.
I think we can all attest to all the paving projects that have been done in town. It is good to see our money being spent on the infrastructure. However, I think that the main problem here that we've had with the paving has been the transparency and the communication from the borough out to the people and the residents in the neighborhoods where the paving is being done. I believe that we can do a lot better in terms of reaching out to the neighborhoods. Making the schedule public, and really focusing on the major roads and working our way through to the local roads.
Next is Mr.
Yes, I totally agree with Keith. I'm happy that we're finally having some paving done. I mean, our roads were kind of third world roads for a while, kind of embarrassing. But I agree with him. It's like the communication is the key thing. I felt like this summer when Central Avenue was closed, we didn't get any notification. And my feeling is if a bear is sighted in town, we all get a phone call. So if we're going to have a major road closed, we better get a phone call. Because we're not all looking at Facebook. Thank you.
Question repeated. Is New Providence doing enough to maintain the local roads at a decent level of repair? Should the town provide more information on how repaving decisions are made and when a street might get an upgrade? So, Mrs. Judd.
On a yearly basis, the town basically goes around and evaluates the neediest areas and streets, and then they prioritize where that goes from there. This last summer was something different. It was the utility companies came to us and they said they needed to go in and they needed to repair these. It was about 50 years since those repairs had been made, and the useful life is about 50 years. So instead of waiting for a problem to happen and pipes to burst and a real major problem where everything is completely shut down, the town took on this with the utility companies. In terms of how it was communicated, there was communication that had come out. Unfortunately, people didn't hear it. I agree, maybe it would be a better idea to have that listed on the website, but I was aware of it, so I'm not sure why anybody else wasn't. So, thank you.
State my name. Hi, this is Dr. Robinson. I'm proud of what we went through as a town this summer. This was the summer of hell for New Providence from a road standpoint. I was going down Central Avenue, weaving one side to another with a police officer there, and if I got pulled over, I would have said to that officer, it's not drinking, it's driving, it's bad paving. So we can't control what utility companies do. As Nadine said, we should be very thankful to have new infrastructure. Those 60-year pipes and those 60-year gas lines, they're going to break. And when they break, it's a major problem. When a water main breaks in front of your house, you have a real disaster. So even though that was a tough summer, I am very proud of the roads. They paved the road in front of my house 2 days ago. I received the notice the day before, I received the notice the day of, and I found that people doing the paving to be extremely professional and the DPW workers to be extremely helpful. So I would actually disagree. I think communication is pretty good on that. Can it be improved? You bet it can. Is Doug Marvin aware of that? You bet he is, because the mayor and council told him that. So I'm proud of what we've been through, and I'm proud of when the mayor would say be patient. I'm proud of your patience. It was a lousy summer, but our roads are good, and more importantly, our infrastructure is better. Thank you.
Okay, 30 seconds.
Just really quickly, I just wanted to reiterate, as a result of the poor communication from the borough, the mayor actually had to come out and issue an apology for the communication. So it's really passing the buck, and it's irresponsible to blame the utility companies for the problem that the borough had in communicating the paving to the residents.
Just to clarify, I was not blaming the utility company. I was actually thankful that the utility company, in conjunction with the borough, had the foresight and proactive planning to realize that this needed to be done. There's no blame to be had. It's a good project, and we are all going to reap the benefits of this for many, many years to come. Thank you.
Okay, next question. This one deals with affordable housing. What specific proposals do you have to address the affordable housing mandate for New Providence? And the person to speak first is Ms. Peterson.
First of all, we need to get this affordable housing issue out of the courts. This is an issue for the New Jersey State Legislature, not the courts. This is why we have so many problems right now. The council and the Board of Education need to work hand in hand to solve this issue and to communicate with our state legislatures what our needs are. We got a bad deal. Our lawyers did not get what we needed. We've just released a joint statement, Keith and I, on the affordable housing and how we feel about it, and I'd like to encourage you to go to our website. My website is www.jamiebpeterson.com. Oh, elect Jamie B. Peterson. I don't know who I am. Okay, or the Keith site. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And the next person is Ms. Jeffrey.
Thank you. Affordable housing is not a new issue in New Providence. This has been something that's been going on for years and years. And our Borough Council has always been historically responsible and proactive. Any mandate that came out, they were right in accordance with it, and they continue to do as such. This most recent mandate, the special master called it one of the best plans that exists out there. It includes sound zoning and responsible planning. It is hopefully not going to be as big of a burden onto the residents as it can be. It's not spot zoning. It's basically something that should hopefully be better for the people. But however, this is a huge impact on the town in that we are required to have 316 affordable units. That equates to about 1130 market residents. If you count 2 people living in each of those houses, we have the potential of increasing our residents by over 2,000 residents. Can you imagine what that would do to our schools, to our infrastructure? This needs to be fixed in the legislators, and I hope the Democrat legislator will comply. Thank you.
I actually agree with both statements by both candidates. Affordable housing was thrust upon us by the court system. It should have been handled in the legislature. Whether you blame the governor of New Jersey or the legislator, it doesn't really matter to me as a council person, because when I sat in meetings with a planner and an attorney, I could see the bill going up and up and up. So I actually agree with the idea that it needs to be taken out of the courts. I'm also very proud of what New Providence did. As Nadine said, we got a compliment from the special master on our affordable plan. We took what was thrust upon us and did the best we could for the town of Providence. We didn't put it in your neighborhood. We could have done an overlay for the entire town of Providence and have affordable housing right next to you. We put it in an area of New Providence that is accessible to mass transportation, to schools and shopping centers, and did not hurt the residents of New Providence. I'm proud of what we did. We did not want to do it. We were forced to do it. But I totally agree that this was thrust upon us by the courts, and it should be handled in the state. I'm just not ready to say it was the Democratic legislator or the governor, because it really doesn't matter to me. It hurt the residents of New Providence.
Thank you. And the last person to answer this question is Mr. Dahl.
So I actually agree with everyone. This is an issue that really needs to be handled at the state legislature level. We did release a statement on this just yesterday, so I hope you will check out our webpage. Mine is key4npcouncil.com. This really was a failure of leadership up at the top. There was a bipartisan solution that was vetoed by Governor Christie. It then came back to our representatives in the state assembly, who declined to press Governor Christie on this issue. So really, it left us in this position where it is untenable. I have a young son. He's 6.5 months old. We're going to be in this town for the next however long. He's going to be in the school system for the next 18 years. And I can only imagine, with the plan that we currently have in place, what that will do to the infrastructure, the services, the size of the classrooms that he's going to attend because of this agreement. We really need to elect representatives who will take this on not as a political hot potato, but get down to the nitty-gritty, and let's find a real solution.
Thank you. Rebuttal? Okay.
So again, my goal in life is not to assess blame, but I want you to know that I spoke with Assemblyman Brownnick earlier in the week. And his point to me, and I don't want to quote him, but his point to me was that there are 10 bills pending in legislation to be voted upon. And those 10 bills were presented by the Republicans. They are being stalled by the Democrats. And those 10 bills are trying to shift the responsibility from the courts to the states where they should be. So again, I'm not saying that it's completely possible that the governor made a mistake, but work is being done on both sides to try to solve this problem, not just one.
30 seconds.
Again, I think that this is really a last-ditch effort to save face. by Assemblyman Bradner. This really it has been something that was his opportunity, right, as our leaders and as the Borough Council to press and advocate for the residents of New Providence, to hope that he would have, over the last 7 years of the Christie administration, push him to get this issue to the forefront, and let's figure out a way to fix this.
Thank you. I appreciate all your enthusiasm, but the extended clapping is going to take a little bit longer to get through the questions. So unless it's something you really are enthusiastic about.
Don't clap.
Okay, next question. And this deals with the schools. It's two parts. Do you have a plan to introduce full-day kindergarten in town? And what are your, I realize it's the Board of Education, but still. And what are your plans to help the school system in town with the rising population of children in the schools? First person to answer that will be Ms. Jeffroy.
Thank you very much. We have had a very big influx of children throughout the time. I have 3 children. My oldest daughter is a senior in high school. She had like 20 kids in her class. My 10th grade daughter had about 22 kids in her class. My son, who's in 7th grade, 25. The class after us, they had to create a 5th section. So this was something that has been ongoing, and the Board of Education has gone out of their way to do a very good job to remedy that. That's really out of the hands of Borough Council to try to fix anything that's related to the Board of Education, and I'm not really sure how we could stem the population. I'm not sure if I misunderstood the question. Can't stem the population. You know, we're happy to have new residents, and that will have to be something that our great team over at the Board of Ed can do, and I'm sure they will do a great job.
So there was a time in my life when I was a general dentist who did everything, root canals, extractions, everything. Then I went back and got a postdoctoral degree in orthodontics. So the only thing I do is orthodontics. I'm a specialist, I'm a trained professional at it. So when you ask me a Board of Education question, as a specialist in municipal government, it's very difficult for me to answer that question. This is obviously a planted question, and I'm happy to pass this microphone off to the people who planted the question and have them answer it.
Thank you. And Mr. Dahl.
Yeah, I agree. This is a Board of Education matter. So there's really not much that, as a councilman or a council member, that we really can do. I can express certainly some concern about rising classroom sizes. With the son who's going to be entering the school system, coming up, and I can tell you my personal view that I do support full-day kindergarten personally. If we're going to invest in anything, I think it should be the early childhood education, so that we are raising our children to be for endless possibilities. But this is not something that we can really truly handle at the council.
Now, my kids are just a little bit older than Nadine's, and so I too have seen the rising classroom sizes, and of course I'm very concerned about it. But I've been very impressed with how the Board of Education and Dr. Michelli have handled things, and we're going to have to continue to handle things. I mean, I believe at one point we had 4 elementary schools in New Providence, K to 8, right? And then we had the middle school, and it's like when the population went down, we sold those schools, right? Or actually, this one school is now our municipal center, and the other school is, you know what it is, yeah. So I don't know. We may have to do something. I'm sure the Board of Ed, again, will take care of it, and it wasn't a planted question by our side, by the way. I have no idea who would do such a thing.
Okay. Next question. And I certainly hope that, whoever is on council is working with the Board of Education. Downtown traffic and parking. Downtown parking and traffic are an issue. How do you plan on solving it? And the first person to answer will be Dr. Robbins.
We recently added 100 parking spaces to downtown New Providence. We expected some very negative feedback, and we haven't gotten much. So Nadine and I have been walking for 4 months. We have 3 or 4 people who made comments about a particular spot next to the Dunkin' Donuts, the Adams Shopping Center, where traffic vision is not good. So when we do a plan on Borough Council, we look at it, Mr. Kapner, thank you for doing this, we do this, and then we reevaluate it. So at this point, based on information we have gained from going door to door, I now know that we need to reevaluate the downtown parking that Doug Marvin, the borough administrator, thought we should even put him there. So it's a learning experience. We do stuff to try to help New Providence, and then we adjust to it. So your input is invaluable. The downtown master plan, which is on our borough website, 75 pages of absolute positive information for downtown, addresses the pedestrian and downtown parking issues.
Thank you, and Mr. Dahl.
This is definitely an issue. We actually wrote another candidate statement on pedestrian and traffic safety, which you can find on our websites as well. The traffic and parking situation in the downtown area is incredibly cramped. I think we all know that. There are disjointed parking lots. There are people just not allowing people to go through. So personally, and this goes back to that greener statement, I think that we really need to move towards a more walkable downtown area, where people are invited to not drive to the downtown area, but be able to walk and enjoy, stroll. The walkability is not from just the distance from point A to point B, but it's a feeling. It's a mentality. It's an enjoyment of the downtown area. So if we're able to take cars out of the roads and out of the parking lots, that will do a lot to remove some of the congestion that we're currently facing.
Well, I totally concur with what Keith just said. And I think we could also use a little dose of kindness and patience as we're going through the parking lots, right? I don't have much more to say on that because I think Keith really covered everything that was on my page. So, but it is an issue, and when they reconfigured the downtown shopping center, it really invited a lot more traffic headaches and a lot more parking headaches. And so I think we have to be careful with the additional planning that we do for downtown, that we do indeed plan for parking. But again, if we can have more people walking, it takes care of it.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Jaffer.
I actually want to start this answer with a very positive note. 40 new businesses have come into New Providence in the last 5 years. What a great accomplishment, we can say. And of course, with 40 new businesses come consumers and people driving. People are walking. I know my son at least walks downtown to Smashburger every day, so there's a lot of walking going on at the middle school level. As Bob had stated, we looked at the downtown master plan and we tried to come up with more parking spaces to alleviate a little bit in the parking lots. And again, as Bob said, something like that is not set completely in stone. And if something comes up and it doesn't work, by all means, bring it to the attention of the Borough Council and they will look at a better way to address it. Always looking for positive ways to change things, and your Borough Council can definitely help you fix that. Thank you.
It's not really rebutting you. I'm not rebutting you. Dr. Robinson? So when you look at the downtown master plan, which everyone should, it's on the borough website under economic development, you will see that pedestrian safety is absolutely and positively at the top of the list. When you look at the downtown shopping center, you have the 2 major entrances and exits. There is consideration of putting lights in them. There's considerations of all those things. But remember, the downtown New Providence is actually 2 county roads. So everything we do has to be done in conjunction with Union County, who we have a great relationship with.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. This one's about volunteers. do you have a plan or some way to get more of the citizens involved in the community as volunteers on the boards and running the school board to keep the town as viable and as good as it is? And we will start with Mr. Dahl.
We addressed this in a candidate statement that we put out on building a culture of inclusivity. And this really speaks to a call of service, one that I feel in running myself that I've answered, and I'm hoping that as a representative of the next generation of New Providence families here in town, I can really reach out to the new residents, the younger residents here in this community, because it's really at the youngest levels that we need to teach service to the community. And if we are able to reach out to the young people and to the residents coming in who are going to benefit from what a great community we have, it's really important that everyone gives back. So I believe that, or I'm hoping that in running for Borough Council, that I can inspire the next generation of New Providence residents to answer that call of service just like I have.
Thank you. Yes. I'm very active in my church, and sometimes I feel it's the same 10 people that do everything, right? I'm sure you feel that way too. But you know what? Part of the reason why I got involved in a lot of things in the community was because someone asked me. And so that's how I got on the library, the Friends of the Library, because my friend of mine asked me. So we who are serving need to ask others, because not everyone feels like they want to step up, or they don't know about all the wonderful committees we have here. They don't know about the diversity committee or others. So we need to ask people to step up and serve. It's not the same 10 people doing everything in town. So I hope that all of you who are here tonight will consider getting more involved in your community. Thank you.
I consider the residents of New Providence to be our top asset. We have such an amazing group of giving, caring people who are always willing to help each other, always willing to give a lending hand, and many people are willing to volunteer. When I look at the different organizations we have in town, we have the Community Service Association, which is a fabulous organization which helps people in need. That's entirely volunteer-based. And now they've added CSA Youth, which is going to bring in our younger people as well. And when I look at the schools and the PTAs, they do reach out to the newer families. So somebody did ask me the other day, what are we going to do about getting younger family volunteers in town? As younger families come in and they do become engaged in the PTA at various community activities and school activities, that'll be a part of their culture as well, and something that those children grow up with. And I'm hopeful and I feel very positive about the future that the volunteer base will stay and only increase as we go on. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
I think that this contested election has been a very good thing for New Providence, and I totally agree with Jamie. I think that the more people are involved, the better. I think that this room is full right now. It actually warms my heart to see this. So I want to thank all the candidates for doing this. Being involved matters. New Providence is built on volunteerism, and I'll just give you an example. You look at, I see right back there, you look at our volunteer EMS, and you look at our volunteer firefighters. The volunteer EMS save lives. The volunteer firefighters put their life at risk. That's New Providence. And just to throw a little money into this, do you realize that if we didn't have a volunteer fire department and a volunteer EMS, it would cost the borough of New Providence about $2 to $3 million per year. So when you look at finances, and you look at property taxes, you have to realize we're saving $2 to $3 million per year because of our volunteers who are putting their lives at risk and saving the lives of others. We are a very fortunate community. I totally agree with what has been said before, but I just want to tell you how much I appreciate the volunteers. Thank you.
Okay, 30 seconds.
Just quickly, I just wanted to add just one point too. It's not even just the families of New Providence that I feel need to be reached out. I think sometimes we forget that we have residents here who don't have children. So when we are organizing and asking for assistance, it shouldn't just be through the schools or in groups of parents. I think we really need to reach out to everyone here in the community. My wife and I moved here about 3 years ago, and we didn't have our son yet. So we never had that invitation, and we didn't feel like we had that welcomeness to volunteer.
Okay, next question. I guess I shouldn't laugh, I'm sorry. Any plans for dog park? I don't have a dog, so I apologize. But anyway, any plans for a dog park? And the first person to answer is Ms. Peterson.
I have a big old dog. I have a 10-year-old golden doodle buddy, and that's I think how a lot of people know me because they see me walking around town. And I walk in what we call the dog park, which is in the area behind Michelle's house, and it's a beautiful area with little trails, and it's not an official dog park, but everybody in Summit and New Providence uses it. Maybe we should make it an official dog park. I don't know. But I think it would be great to have something, or maybe we can use the Ping Wang property or something like that. But I think there definitely should be a gathering place for people with dogs.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Jeffrey.
I'm also the proud mom to a Beagle Hound. He's 8 years old. His name is Cooper. He's 80 pounds. And I have a little cockapoo named Lacey. She's about 2. She's very sweet. People know me. I drive around with her. I walk my dogs every day on the street. I walk them around all the neighborhoods. I would also appreciate a dog park. I think that'd be a great place to take them. I am not sure that something like that is in the plan, but again, Borough Council is always receptive to ideas. Maybe that's something we can bring up at a meeting. Why not? Sure.
No one loves dogs like I love dogs. So obviously I would support a dog park. The Ping Wang property is a very good suggestion. Unfortunately, because of DEP requirements, we're not going to be able to touch that property for about 5 years, so there's nothing we can do. There's also access problems to that. But don't think that wasn't completely on our mind when we took down those greenhouses. It's a great suggestion. It's just probably not going to work. So even though I love dogs, I would also say thank you for the residents of Providence for not using the basketball courts or the tennis courts as dog parks. The Grove Terrace property, which we may be doing in the near future, is also basically, we call it a Summit Dog Park. So we need a dog park in town. It is really not in the plans right now to do it, but I would certainly support it as soon as possible. Great idea. Whoever asked that question, thank you.
And Mr. Dahl.
After all of that, do you think I'm really going to oppose a dog park? I agree. I mean, dogs bring us so much joy. I think that it's a great idea. I certainly would move forward with a plan to try and create some sort of space for people to gather with their dogs. I know that it has been brought up in previous Borough Council meetings before, why we haven't gotten there yet with the dog park. I guess they would be better to describe that. But yes, certainly. I think in terms of bringing the community together, bringing families together, bringing residents who just have dogs together, it's a no-brainer.
I happen to be a cat person. Sorry. And they don't go to parks. They don't go to parks. Okay. Back to the questions. I think this might be the last one because then we have closing statements. What would you say is the most important issue facing New Providence? And the first person to speak will be Ms. Jeffrey.
Thank you. That's a very good question. As I mentioned before, affordable housing, I would believe, is the biggest issue that's facing New Providence. And again, as I mentioned before, the Borough Council has gone out of its way to ensure that we are in total compliance with the plan, that we would be in compliance with what is required from the order. Other than that, I would say we do have to be aware of drug issues in school. And I think that's something that the town is also addressing because they do have meetings to make people aware of issues. Educating people, educating children on dangerous issues is something that's very important and something that the schools and the town are also doing. Thank you.
I absolutely agree. Affordable housing is the #1 priority, but it's kind of out of our control at this point. Property taxes would be my second answer. So property taxes, you have to understand, the municipal part of that is 20% of your taxes. Of that 20%, 80% of that is fixed income. We have salaries to pay, we have insurance to pay, so there's really not much discretion what we can do with that. So the second thing we need to do is, because every person we went to, one woman actually said, we need to do something about the property taxes, and I said to Bob Sartori, okay, let's raise her property taxes. She goes, no, I want them lowered. I said, you have to be more specific. So affordable housing is #1. Property taxes is #2, and probably the concern for our children's safety and drugs is probably #3.
Thank you. And Mr. Dahl.
So I would actually agree. I think affordable housing really is the problem that we are facing that can potentially really impact and change the dynamic of this town. As I mentioned before, just as a young family here, I am very concerned about the future of this affordable housing agreement that we have in place. And quite honestly, I don't know that we can say that it's the biggest problem that we face, and then also at the same time say that we're satisfied with the agreement that is currently in place. I believe that as a councilman, we really need to advocate on behalf of our residents here in town to push our legislators to fight on our behalf for this issue. We should not accept that this is just the way that it is. This is an arbitrary number that was placed on us by the courts. It's unfair to our town. It's going to stretch our services, our infrastructure, and our schools. We simply cannot just stand by and allow this to happen. We need to fight this. We need to push from New Providence up the chain in order to fix this problem.
New Jersey Transit. This summer was the summer of hell. Both my husband and my daughter commuted into the city, and every day was a pain in the neck. Especially coming, morning was not too bad, but the evening was always trouble. If New Jersey Transit fails, if the Gladstone line fails, and we know, I've heard Madden say that we are kind of like the stepchild. If they cut that line, your property value is going to go down. Our property values have been climbing the past few years since they stabilized right after the crash, and then they've been going up like 15% the past 5 years. And we are expecting that those values are going to go up another 1% or so the next year. That's what my realtor friends told me. Okay, but New Jersey Transit is the key to our values. So I need our legislatures to really help us get that line solid for our commuters.
Thank you. Now we move on to rebuttal. Okay.
His name was invoked.
No. It's only an hour meeting, Mr. Madden. To Mr. Dahl's point, and I love your passion, I totally get your passion, and I really respect it. But to say that the mayor and council aren't doing anything regarding affordable housing is not true. We passed a resolution that we put into effect saying that this is unacceptable to us. There's been a meeting of mayors that Mayor Morgan went to that was a joint meeting with Republican and Democratic mayors. We have been in constant communication with Assemblyman Bramnick, with Assemblywoman Munoz, with Senator Keene over this. So this is not something, even though we don't say everything, and don't judge us by our words, judge us by our accomplishments, judge us by our action. Don't judge us by publicity or buzzwords. We are actively trying to change this.
Okay, I'm sorry, I just want to add one more thing. When learning about affordable housing, I was actually very impressed by the proactive way that the council looked at this. They could have just talked about saying, okay, well, we want to push back, we want to push back. They ran the risk then of being sued because they were not in compliance. Then we would have had a lot of extra expenses and court fees and such. So the proactive plan is not something that anybody wants. It is court-mandated, high-density housing. Every town in the state of New Jersey is going through this, and New Providence is no exception. Thank you.
Okay, one more, and then we stop.
So just in response to that, I'm not saying that the council hasn't done anything. I'm not saying that Mayor Morgan hasn't done anything. I'm just saying we should, as residents, we should just not accept what has been put upon us. And to Councilman Robinson's point, I don't, your fellow councilmen have a history of twisting my words, and I really don't appreciate it. And I wish that you would speak out about that, because we did promise to run a clean campaign.
I think all the views have been aired, so it is time for closing statements. And the speakers will go in the reverse order of the opening statements. So in 2 minutes, the first person to speak will be Ms. Jeffrey.
Well, again, I want to thank you all for coming, and I really want to thank you for putting in your questions, and I really did enjoy having this discussion with everybody. Again, when we went around and we were able to meet so many people from canvassing, it was really a great opportunity for me, and I feel so fortunate to meet so many different residents. Meeting the residents who have lived here over 30 years, who have raised their children here, and when we ask them, what keeps you here in New Providence? They say, this is our home, this is where we want to stay. Or when we meet the new young families, like Keith is, and they are right on the cusp of all that great stuff that I'm kind of just finishing up on now with the schools and the rec department and the sports. And they ask us questions being new in town, and we recommend things to them. We tell them about the amazing community activities that are coming up, like the trunk or treat. We met a little girl who's very excited about doing that. So I do thank you guys for this campaign and for this election. And even though it wasn't something that was easy, I think I gained so much out of that. And for that, I'm greatly appreciative. Again, why do I want to be on council? Why do I want to do this? I have three children still, and I'm very active. And very simply put, I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference and give back, and I want to give back to the community that has given us so much. We are so very blessed to live here, and I want to make sure new families like Keith, I want to make sure that senior families have all the opportunities, and existing residents just continue to be happy living in this town. So with that, again, I want to thank you all for coming tonight, and I hope you consider me when you go vote on November the 7th. Thank you so much.
Next is Ms. Peterson.
Sorry. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for their tireless effort to educate and encourage voters. Most importantly, I'd like to thank all of you who came tonight. This is an amazing turnout, and I'd like to thank all of you who are watching at home. Thank you for your time. It is because of you, the residents, that I'm standing here tonight. During the past few months, I've knocked on over 1,200 doors and listened to your concerns. What I heard was that you desire more transparency and accountability. You want more open communication about decisions made by the council, and you want a clear vision of economic and environmental sustainability for our community. From the moment I moved here 20 years ago, I serve my neighbors, community, and church. I have the skills to lead, motivate, communicate, and organize. I have no tolerance for fiscal waste, and I will be prudent with your tax dollars. I will always engage in conversation with you, the residents, and translate your concerns into concrete solutions. I have the experience, energy, and vision to serve you. This year, citizens have a choice to choose for Borough Council. This is the first time in a long time. And you can choose new and independent voices who are committed to listening and serving you, the residents. Keith and I will bring balance to the council. A balanced council benefits everyone. Now is the time for the council to respect and reflect the diversity, values, and ideals of all its citizens. The choice is yours. Choose Jamie Bear Peterson and Keith Dahl on November 7th. Thank you so much.
And Mr. Dahl.
Okay. I appreciate the time that everyone took to come out and to listen to our views, ask good questions, right, and learn more about us as candidates and as people. Okay. My name is Keith Dahl, and in addition to being one of the Democratic candidates for New Providence Borough Council, I am also a husband, a father, a nurse, and a grassroots organizer. It is because of those roles and the responsibilities that come with them that I've decided to step up when the call came to serve our community. There are many paths to service, and I believe that we all have a moral compass that guides us by our values to do what is right. My path directed me to this moment here before you tonight. As a New Providence resident with a young family, I want to utilize my voice and particular skill set to make the most out of the opportunities I have, and I want to ensure that those opportunities are afforded to all the citizens of New Providence. When you go to the polls on November 7th, you will be presented with a choice for the first time in a long time. Our campaign, at its core, is about the future we together imagine for the borough. It's about building a culture of inclusivity and recognizing the true value that differing points of view can offer. It's about setting a new standard for accessibility and accountability in town. It's about empowering voices in the community and inspiring a new generation of leadership. It's setting the goal to establish New Providence as the model for green communities in the Garden State. It's finding innovative ways to collaborate with county and state officials regarding the increasing cost of living. I welcome you to visit my website, key4npcouncil.com. There you will see candidate statements laying out the vision that Jamie Bear Peterson and I have forged through our conversations with you. We are ready to take on the most pressing concerns you have in an open, collaborative, and constructive way that seeks to enhance the quality of life for all New Providence residents. And I hope you will join us. Let your voices be heard, and vote Keith Dahl and Jamie Bear Peterson for New Providence Borough Council on November 7th.
And Dr. Robinson.
First of all, I'd like to thank the residents of New Providence for affording me the great opportunity to serve you for 10 years. I also want to thank all the candidates up here tonight, and I say this with all due respect. If I am fortunate enough to get reelected, I will be a better council person because of you and because of all that you have presented. So I want to thank you for that. Quick story. During Superstorm Sandy, the town was without power for days and weeks. I'm a member of the Emergency Management Committee. We formulated a shelter in the Municipal Center. That shelter was for people to come in and warm up during the day, do their cell phones, and sleep at night. That had to be supervised 24 hours a day. So every day, I was there from 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. What I saw in the faces and the words of those people in that shelter cannot be explained. It is something that touched me deeply. When you are displaced from your home and you're afraid and you're tired, you know what doesn't matter? Gender, age, race, religion, or political affiliation. What matters is protection from the storm outside and a safe place to put your head. That is why I'm running for Borough Council again. I will be there for you when you need me.
Thank you very much. I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. I want to thank the candidates for their very well thought out answers and speeches. I think you've got 4 good people up here, so don't forget to vote on November 7th. But we need poll workers. And if you don't have poll workers, it's kind of hard to vote. So the county is desperate. It pays $200. It's a full day. But if anyone's interested, I have the little tags. You pull it off and you call, and they give you a little bit of training, enough to make you do the right thing, and you can help out on election day. Because without poll workers, it's hard to vote. So November 7th, also TV 35 has taped this performance. Well, it is a performance. this candidate's debate, and it will be aired. I'm not sure exactly when, but you can check their schedule. I'm assuming it will show up on their schedule. And I think, unless there's anything else, that we will close the meeting. And again, thank you all for coming.